Vashin Rakakadash, the water, Yahweh, the water, Yahweh, Vashin, Yahweh Shai, Shalaki, Yahweh, for my sins as I cried. Baba Kashai, Yahweh, oh, for your mercy all the time. Call on Yahweh, Vashim, Yahweh Shai, Barakatha, Yahweh, for upon all the time. Call on Yahweh, Vashim, Yahweh Shai. I love you, my Father, for the mercy all the time. Call on Yahweh, Vashim, Yahweh Shai. The water, Yahweh, for the men that you provide, and the mercy and the teaching that we love to show the time. Call on Yahweh, Vashim, Yahweh Shai. Shalom, shalom. Get the camera straight here, brother. Yes, sir. Here we go. All right. It's your brother, Obadiah Kanan. And here we are. Yep. It's that time again. It is time. It's 10:10, and it's time for you to get in. 10:10, and we're going to get it in. Yep. Just had to, straighten out a few odds and ends, and the work is always never done. You know what I'm saying? It's just the way it is. So we're going to get ready here, and we got a lesson brought to you by Yahweh Bashim Yahushai, Bashim Rakakadash. And got a good one. Once again, once the Most High taps on me, taps on my head, taps on my forehead here and tells me, get your butt up and get it out. Time to talk about it. Give them something to talk about. All right, we want to say salutations to all of the elect that we mainly and focus on talking to. That's who we are here for. The rest of the nations, the rest of the remnant that are out there, we can't claim the 2/3 because the Most High has already predetermined what he's going to do with everybody anyway, anyhow. Let's make sure we understand that. So we definitely want to get our salutations out to the scattered, hopeful elect, and get our salutations out to all of the Akmium and Akwa that are out there, being diligent as possible. And I see my brothers, Howitz and Bowitz, kicking it live, bringing it out, even all the way up to the bitter ends. I'll tell you, man, that's a remarkable, I'm just saying, it's just an absolute remarkable, I don't even know what to call it, man. It's beyond just a miracle, the way that you don't know these men. These men, you don't know what walk of life they came from, including and not limited to, the One West brothers who were touched by the Most High and the Royal Caucasian in order to bring this out. So you definitely want to give a citation and our utmost and admirous respect to the apostles who came out of One West, even though they were taken out by some illegitimate individuals who are operating in capacity of, you know how they go, the purple people eater, man. But anyway, we want to definitely give our most respectful admiration to the Apostle Great Millstone, who came out, and what they've done is they brought out what they were supposed to. They brought the accuracy. This is important. This is one of the things that we struggle with in this truth of ours immensely in terms of the elect, and even maybe the hopeful elect, if I could be so kind as to say. Accuracy is a very, it's just beyond what you can understand. I mean, I know that the brothers come off and they talk about, you know, what percentage they have in terms of the truth and everything. But you know what's important about any percentage of truth you have is accuracy. You have to have the utmost accuracy in giving what truth you have. And I haven't seen it anywhere else. I mean, you got individuals that are out here and they're speaking in terms of what they believe the Sabbath is from a Friday sundown to Saturday sundown. And we all were kind of guilty of this in the beginning when we didn't know unless you were taught correctly. But in conjunction with saying that, and I don't want to digress, you know, there's just some things that are foundational mainstays that have to be accurate in terms of can't be getting the Sabbath situation wrong. And first and foremost, you cannot be getting wrong the sacred name of the Most High. I mean, that's something that is just unprecedented in terms of what's supposed to be brought out. Okay. So make sure we completely understand that. A lot of people don't understand that we have to bring that accuracy out of the sacred name, because if you don't bring out the sacred name and the accuracy of it, you're off on everything else. If you can't get the sacred name right, if you can't get Yahawah right, if you can't get Ba'Shem in terms of in the name of, and you can't get Yahweh Shai right, and you can't get the Ruach Kodesh, in the Ruach HaKodesh right in terms of the Holy Spirit, if you can't understand that level of the Paleo Hebrew, which is the language which is in heaven, you're off on everything else you're going to do. You just can't be on point. It's just not going to work. Okay, so I'm not going to digress on that too much, because then you know how it is. The brothers who bringing out the accuracy, you know who they are, you know where they are. They get the most contention from anybody, and everybody else is coming out here. And none of us are in a position where we have everything absolutely in perfect order. Okay, we're doing the best we can with the order that the Most High has provided, and this is where we are. Everybody who does their work in accuracy through Ruach HaKodesh, they're going to be taken care of by the Most High. Point blank, period. Okay. Okay. I'm gonna tell you what the lesson is today, but I'm sure you already saw the title. So, you know, we're gonna roll with it. But I'm gonna tell you anyway. Yahawah directs us to get prepared to go through being delivered from this exile. Now that's a little longer than the title that I put up on the channel, because, you know, they only let you have so much space to put everything in, because, you know, the channel title just says Yahawah directives on us, delivering us through his through this exile. It's his exile and it's our exile because he put us in it. So that's clearly what the situation is. And so we know that Yahawah directs us to get prepared to go through being delivered from this exile. Now, I did a lesson before this that told you explicitly that the Most High has always prepared his elect to go through whatever judgments and wrath and whatever situations he's brought forward. This is paramount, and this is most important that we have to continue to drill this home and understand. There's nothing that we won't go through that he won't take us through if we are selected, predetermined to go through it. Let me say that again, and I'll say it in this way. The Most High has predetermined everything to happen. As I had said earlier, you know, that he already determined the end from the beginning and the beginning from the end, and he didn't leave anything out. So because he didn't leave anything out, that lets you know completely that everything has been included. And that, when I say included, that means he's already determined who are going to be the elect, who are going to be the 2/3, who are going to be the very elect. We got the end of the book. You cannot dispute that. We have the end of the book. We got Revelation. He told you what's going to happen at the end of the book. So therefore, if he told you what's happening at the end of the book, beginning from the end, he didn't leave anything out in between. Nothing in between has been left out. So let's not get spiritually retarded and think that there's something that has been left out, because the wacky tackies are all over the place, and they don't, you know, it's just crazy. You can see what's going on all of your social media platforms, whether it's TikTok, Twitter, Facebook, YouTube, and all the rest of the derivatives thereof. Everybody's coming out with all kinds of different renditions of what they believe the truth is, what they believe is going to happen, how the end's going to come to pass. But the Most High already told us what the end is. It's in Revelation. We know that if he's given us anything more than that, you don't have it. And if you can prove it, show it, but you don't have it. So we know that the end of the book has been determined. So we're going to come out of exile, and we're going to discuss this today. And we're going to break down several scriptures I caution you and tell you right now, before we get into this, this is not going to be a quick lesson. It's going to take some time. If you do not wish to learn anything, if you do not wish to understand what your directives should be, because see, it's time to start telling the sheep what they're supposed to start to do when it comes to this exile that we're going to come out of. Where he's going to take us through it. Even in Jacob's trouble, when he talks about we're going to go through Jacob's trouble, but you will be delivered out of it. Okay, so when you say that, what he's telling you is you're still going to go through something. If we're going to be saved out of it, you have to be in it to be saved out of it. I mean, come on, it's real simple. All right, we're going to go through Jacob's trouble, but we will be saved out of it. We will be delivered out of it. We will be brought out of it. So therefore, you have to go in it in order to get out of it. So that means there's going to be stages, as I said before, where we're going to have to go through various different levels of the tribulation that are going to be put upon the world. Now, we know that there will be some that have been already predetermined to do a certain thing. I was listening to Elder YAHAWAH'S when he talked about, there will be martyrs and there'll be individuals that will carry the faith forward and make it stronger and more important in terms of keeping the faith, in terms of going through what we have to. He's letting you know that we are still going to have to go through it. The Hebrew children, the 3, they still went in the fire, okay? Yes, nothing happened to them, but they still got put in the fire. In other words, they still had to go through that episode, okay? Yes, the men who put them in the fire, they perished. They were destroyed because it was so hot, but nothing happened to them, not even to their clothing or anything. You know this. If you studied enough, you had to do this. We're going to go through a lot of stuff where you need to take notes. Take some notes now. This is note-taking time as well. Because there's a lot of scriptures to cover, and I'm going to be going a little bit faster, but you're going to have to take notes, okay, in order for you to get through this and get through it the right way, okay? One of my lead scriptures that I want to start off with is in Ezekiel chapter 12, and I'm going to read that whole chapter because it's only up to 28 because I need to really emphasize some of what's going on here because the Most High sent us into exile. He's going to take us out of exile. And this is what we have to understand. Because, I didn't know what exile is. This is where we are. Everywhere we're scattered around the entire earthly plane, this entire planet that we're on we're in exile wherever we are. We are the ones. And there's no one else that's in exile like us. So any wacky tackies or anybody else that says that we're not the Israelites, says that we're not the people of the Most High, we're not the chosen, they're full of, they're full up to the rim with it. Because there's no one else that's in exile like we are. Nobody, okay? So let's make sure we understand that. And that's important. Just a few more things before I get into my scriptures here, because this is very important to understand. Right now, there's so much going on in terms of the ramping up of the demons that are starting. You have to understand, if you're not in this truth at the level of knowledge, spiritual maturity is what I'm talking about. If you're not of the level of spiritual maturity, then what I'm going to say to you right now is not going to resonate with you very well because you're going to buck up against it. You're going to see that there's a problem with it, but you're going to have to understand this is the nature of where we are and it has to go this way. Starting off by saying this, YAHAWAH'S Yahawaah's not going to send YAHAWAH'S back here until things are beyond what we can even stand. Now, I say that, but I'm not going to say that we can't go through it. There's a lot of stuff that you can't stand, but you still got to go through it. And this is to be true in your lifetime, in your lifestyle. So that's not anything that I'm saying that's out of line. But what I'm saying to you, it's going to be so bad here, the demons aren't going to want to be here. I'm going to say it again. It's going to get so bad and so wicked that even the wicked demons that are perpetrating the things that the Most High programmed them to do, they're not even going to want to be here no more. And that's at the level that YAHAWAH'S could possibly be returned at that time. And that would, of course, be close to what the directive is for this year that Apostle Hart put out, which was, the fact that this could be that time period where, and we hope and pray that and worship and praise that it is, that prophecy ends in this period of time. Because things can go fast, real fast. I listened to brother this afternoon, Bagaramoth, and he was doing a new. He did a new lesson on how fast and the speed up of the MOTB, and how fast it will take force and take place. And we all talk about that, at least amongst my own Israelite contacts that I talk to. And we talk about that all the time, how fast things are going to go once Esau has really figured out that he don't get it here, he don't get it there. So once that happens, it's going to speed up real quick, and it's going to happen. So it's going to get that bad that the Most High is going to push these demons so hard, so fast to show his power that it's going to be so wicked that they don't even want to be here no more. And once we get to that point, we can probably see the case of Michael and Yahushua showing up. And here we go, right? So we praise, worship, and pray that this is the case. You know me, you know the stand that the position that the Most High put me on. I'm always going to say we have to be in a PPWP. What is a PPWP? All right, I told you PWP before, which was praise, worship, and prayer. All right, I said that, but the Most High said add the other P, which is what? Prepared. So you have to praise, prepare, worship, and pray. Praise, prepare, worship, and pray, because he's always told you to prepare. You have to prepare for feast days. You have to prepare for Sabbath. You have to prepare for war. You have to prepare for peace. You have to prepare for everything. Joseph, in my thumbnail snap, it showed you that he was given information on to prepare for famine that was coming. Brother Manat Zappa, GMS out of South Carolina, put up a lesson about that as well. He talked about the fact that famine's coming. When the famine comes, that means not everything's going to be dissipated or taken up, but it's going to be a shortage, or you won't have access to. So if you have a shortage or access to, you will have famine in your lifetime and in your lifestyle and in your environment, because you won't be able to get the things that you need in order to survive, and some will have to perish from that situation. If you're predetermined and predestined for that to happen, this is what's going to go down. So, but the Most High never told you not to prepare. Now, as I said before, no one's telling you to go out here and try to act like you're going to fight Esau with Esau's blessing. That's not the case at all. You are to not be an infidel. You protect your household, because there's going to come a time when the bottom drops out. Once we go offline, once we go off the rails, once we go dark, your family members and those that aren't in the truth, and if you have children or whoever else you have, or whatever the status of your environment is that you live in, they're going to be asking you some very important questions. What are we supposed to do? And you're a man of the Lord, and if that is your designation and that's what the Most High made you, you are supposed to prepare to take care of that situation, whether they're in the truth or not in the truth. You're still going to have to deal with it, okay? Now, there'll be coverage by angels. Angels will guard and protect those that are protected by YAHAWAH'S, that man of the Lord, and his family. Yes, but there are going to be trying and testing situations. Trials and tribulation. Tribulation is going to fall upon everyone in some way, shape, or form. Nobody's going to get away or around it, and you're going to experience it in some shape or form, okay? Whether it's you, your family member, someone you care about, someone you don't care about, it doesn't matter. You're going to have, if you're in this flesh, you're going to check it out. If you're here during that time, that's what's going to go down, all right? So let's just make sure we don't get that twisted, because that's important. Okay, we want to get that out. So now we're going to get into some scripture. First place I'm going, as I said before, I'm going to Ezekiel chapter 12. So let's join me if you haven't already pulled it up. All right. Let me get my specs on. Are they clean? Yeah, they are. Good. All right. Okay. Shalom, shalom. Let's get into it. Okay. Ezekiel chapter 12. Ezekiel prepares for exile. Now, I'm going to go into this because I need to speak about going into exile so that you can know how we go out of exile. Like Apostle Randall always says, he says, if you don't know where you came from, you don't know where you're going. Okay, it's pretty simple and very self-explanatory. So let's understand that. Okay, verse 1, and it reads, the word of Yahweh also came unto me, saying, Son of man, thou dwellest in the midst of a rebellious house, which have eyes to see and see not. They have ears to hear and hear not, for they are a rebellious house. Who is he talking about? He's talking about us. He's talking about because judgment starts in the house of Israel first. So he's talking about us. We have a very rebellious house, and you can even see it at the nth degree of so-called men of the Lord who's supposed to know the sacred name, use the sacred name, know when the Sabbath is, know when certain feast days are supposed to happen, know what the difference is between the full moon and the new moon, and you see that they're a rebellious house because they don't want to follow the tenets and the ordinances of YAHAWAH'S. So therefore they have to be what? Chastened, corrected, and the Most High is in the process of doing that. Let's read. Okay. All right. 3, therefore, thou son of man, prepare the stuff for removing. Hint, hint, keyword, prepare. Now, so I'll start it over and read it again. For all of those who may have a little density on the spiritual side that may lean into retardation, that could possibly be, and I'm not trying to offend you, I'm just trying to say if you're ignorant to certain things, it doesn't mean that you have to be offended. It just means that you maybe don't understand or don't know. So therefore, we'll read it again. So you hear the word prepare, okay? So you can make sure you understand you're supposed to do things, directives. You're supposed to do things. The Most High gives directives, and we're going to read those directives in the scriptures so you know what the hell to do. All right. Therefore, thou son of man, prepare thee stuff for removing, and remove by day in their sight, and thou shalt remove from thy place to another place in their sight. It may be they will consider, though they be a rebellious house. Now, there's 2 types of situations here we need to understand in that statement, okay? 1, in their sight. In the sight of who? In the sight of Esau? No. Most High does covert activity. He wants you to be covert in your application of removing, your preparedness. You don't show Esau your moves in terms of what you're going to do and how you're going to prepare to go through the tribulation. He's talking about your sheep, your brethren, your sisterin, the Aquav, the Akyam. He's talking to you in their sight. Just like when you're out in highways and byways, you're in their sight. You're showing them and teaching them in their sight. So when you remove, you have to show them how to remove so they can see it. That's called removing in their sight. Because they ain't gonna know which way to go. Sheep are very dumb. They don't know where to go. Look at Jake's now. And I'm not going to go on a tangent with that. You see how the Most High's got them bugged out doing the things they're doing. They're already predetermined to bug out and do that. But amongst that herd, those massive herds of sheep, there is elect that will get the clues and follow suit. See, this is a whole thing about can you receive and understand the clues? The Most High is programmed to do all the things he's done to everyone he's done it and to everything going. But trust me, there are clues that you got to pick up on. And when you pick up on these clues, you can move forward in that capacity. Okay? All right. Okay. Therefore, son of man, prepare these stuff for removing, and remove by day in their sight, and thou shalt remove from thy place to another place in their sight. It may be they will consider, see, they'll understand what's going on, though they be a rebellious house. Then shalt thou bring forth thy stuff by day in their sight as stuff for removing, and thou shalt go forth even in their sight as they that go forth into captivity. Okay? See? Then shalt thou bring forth, like I said, bring forth thy stuff by day in their sight as stuff for removing, and thou shalt go forth even in their sight as they that go forth in captivity. So you gotta do it the way the Most High says do it. And this is directives from him on how he wants you to move. You need to know that. Dig thou through the wall in their sight and carry out thereby. In their sight shalt thou bear it upon thy shoulders and carry it forth in the twilight. Thou shalt cover thy face that thou see not the ground, for I have set thee for a sign unto the house of Israel. Who did he set for a sign to the house of Israel? YAHAWAH'S, obviously, okay? So make sure you understand that part. 7, and I did so as I was commanded. I brought forth my stuff by day as stuff for captivity. And even I did through the wall, and mine hand, semicolon, I brought it forth in the twilight, and I bear it upon my shoulder in their sight. And in the morning came the word of Yahweh unto me, saying, Son of man, hath not the house of Israel, the rebellious house, said unto thee, What doest thou? Say unto them, Thus saith the Lord power, this burden concerneth the prince in Jerusalem and all the house of Israel that are among them. So we're talking about everyone. Now here's the thing, when I see that, I look upon and I listen and I read and I study hard and I take a lot of notes in order to do a lesson. Now, everything I study and do and get into these notes, it don't all come out in the lesson at one time. I get out what the Spirit tells me to get out when I'm under this particular presentation, and I have to do it. But I see a lot of stuff that, like it says here, and he seeth not the ground with his eyes, cover his face. A lot of things that you see happening right now are with some of these other organizations is very problematic in terms of, if you're out here and you are monetizing your ministry to the nth degree by selling oils and smell goods and different kinds of products that you have to try to candor and ponder to your flesh. And if you're talking about trying to get involved with various networks of other organizations to go and do debates and stuff in reference to this truth of ours, in claiming the position of defending the faith, then you're creating a problematic situation, because that's not part of the ministry. That's not part of the end time ministry in terms of us going through tribulation and how we have to go through that time. Because once everything is shut down in a capacity where you don't have the FRNs, the fiat currencies to your avail, and you no longer have that freedom and flexibility, but you're setting up all types of established communication processes where what you're trying to do is present a higher level of media communication to what you think is the way to reach your people or to reach the elect. And you're doing it and you're building it from a monetary position, you're going to get a rude awakening, because once everything shuts down and no longer the resource that you use in order to build those types of platforms that you don't need, you just need to do the work and not try to monetize things. You're going to have a problem, because you're not preparing the sheep at the level. If you were actually preparing the sheep with directives on what to do when the bottom drops out of everything, instead of having what I would consider to be questionable debates about who knows what and how much knowledge they have about the scriptures, as opposed to your scholarship. If you're doing this, you're on the wrong track, because that's not going to matter if you're not teaching the sheep in a way that they know how to operate when everything goes dark. If you're building a monetary platform and you don't find a way to be able to communicate with the men of the Lord who is supposed to be in this work of yours that are out in the field, then and they don't have a directive, what are you going to do? What the hell are you going to do? Who thinks about saying to themselves, what source of communication and what source of the way that things will continue to be able to progressively move forward in prophecy can be expounded on? What am I saying to you? All right, Esau Edom, he's going to continue to run his military and he's going to have communication, but he's going to cut communication off of the regular platforms from a lower level. In other words, everything that's landline, a landline derivative of what you're going to use in terms of like your cell phone or whatever, that's going to be gone. You won't have that anymore. That's not going to be something that you're going to be able to communicate with each other with or about. So you won't be able to give directives. And if you haven't prepared directives already to tell someone where to go, how to get there, where to meet me, what time frame you're going to do it, then you're already putting yourself in a very precarious situation. Okay, so what will the Most High allow Esau to continue to operate and perpetuate while the bottom drops out, or once the bottom drops out? Well, Esau's going to have to still be able to fly his devices that he thinks can be all powerful and will help him to try to go up against YAHAWAH'S in heaven, right? In the lower level heaven, in the Leo orbit, okay? The lower Earth orbit. So if he tries to go to that realm and he's going to try to fight against Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahushua, think about it. He's got to have a form of communication to communicate with his devices that he's using and flying and moving around on the earth. There's only other method is satellite. Okay, so is anybody telling you about a method of communication that will involve satellite communication? Is anyone telling you that? Is anyone talking about that method of communication that you could possibly invest in? Because you know Esau's going to keep that method of communication going. Well, the Most High was in order to show his power when he fights against Esau in that lower orbit heaven, in that lower Earth orbit heaven, right? So once he does that, those particular devices that will be on those things on the water, those ships, those planes, those trains, whatever else he's using, he's got to keep a level of communication going so that they could put up what they think is going to be a fight. Clearly, we know it's not a real good fight, and it's not going to work. But the bottom line is that's one of the methods of communication that will still be open to communicate covertly with us as well amongst each other. So we need to look into these kinds of things as far as directives. The Most High tells you this stuff. He's done this kind of stuff with his own people in the past as well as in the present. So you need to take this into consideration. And if you're not, then you're missing the boat on that. So if you're using your monetary blessing from the Most High, if I could be so kind as to say it that way, and you're just talking about getting into debates, and you're talking about getting into information that is not giving directives on what to do when everything goes dark, you need to do that. You need to get into that understanding, and that should be in your mind, and that's why the Most High put it in my spirit to tell you about it. And we're going to go into more about it, but let's continue with the scriptures. Okay, because see, I get off on a tangent and I start talking, right? So forgive me. Mm-hmm. Okay. All right. And I did that when it was 12, 13. My net also will I spread upon him, and he shall be taken in my snare, and I will bring him to Babylon, to the land of the Chaldeans. Yet shall he not see it. Yet shall he not see it, though he shall die there. See, and this is very, very interesting, because it's true that Jake don't see what's coming. And primarily, yes, the Most High directly has blinded him, and he's got scales on his eyes, and he's spiritually blocked, because his destiny is to be possibly a 2/3. But some of the elect and very elect that are scattered, who are hearing messages of this nature, they're going to pick up on the clue, and they're going to do what they're supposed to do to operate in this truth, and they're going to do that. So that's important to understand. They will pick up. So that's why, when he says, and he's going to spread his net. He said, the net also will I spread upon him, and he shall be taken in my snare, and I will bring him to Babylon, to the land of the Chaldeans. Yet shall he not see it, though he shall die there. And I will scatter toward every wind all that are about him to help him, and all his bands, and I will draw out the sword after him. See, the Most High is doing all this. So what we're trying to tell you is, you got to go through the tribulation, but do you want to go through real hard? Do you want to go through it in a way where it's going to be so tumultuous to you that you're going to have problems beyond what you can imagine could possibly happen, So it's very important to understand what level of the fire do you want to go through, because you're going to have to go through the fire. You're not going to escape going through some similitude of fire here, okay? All the prophets, all the apostles, everybody that's ever been, that's been here in the flesh and that's here in the flesh, has got to go through the fire. What level? Whether you get, a little scorched or whether you get completely burned, you're going to go through the fire here. So let's make sure you get prepared to handle these kinds of things, okay? All right. And okay, he says here, all right, and he says, and I will scatter towards every wind all that are about him to help him, and all his bands, and I will draw out the sword after him. 15, and they shall know that I am Yahweh when I shall scatter them among the nations and disperse them in the countries. 16, but I will leave a few men of them from the sword. He said, what? I will leave a few men of them from the sword, okay, from the famine and from the pestilence, that they may declare all their abominations among the heathen, whether they come, and they shall know that I am Yahweh. I'm going to read that again, all right? Because that's very important. That's why I'm saying you don't know what position you already predetermined to go through. You may have to be like Yahawah has said when I listened to Elder Yahawah, he said, you may have to be martyred. You may have to go to the concentration camps. They may come and collect your ass in a Walmart shopping cart and wheel you in there. Okay, you don't know. Like, look up. They got stuff out there on this situation. Okay, you ever take a look at those Walmart carts? Why is it that the wheels on the back lean backwards like that? Okay, because if you take two shopping carts, two big ass Walmart shopping carts, because they are big. You know, once you notice how big they are, of course they want them bigger so you can put more groceries in them. But think about it. Think about it. If you take two of them, do this experiment. Go to Walmart, all right? They'll probably look at you kind of weird, but do it anyway. All right? Pull them back on the handle. Put the handle down towards the ground, okay? And then take both of them and take the open portions of them and close them together, okay? Close those carts together, all right? And a picture now, okay? That's like a cage, okay? That's like a freaking cage, all right? And then the wheels on the bottom that stick out, they'll allow that thing to be rolled in. So if they lock that sucker at the bottom and they lock it at the top and on the sides, they can cage a person inside of that. Roll your ass right into Walmart. Okay, don't digress, man. All right. I'm just saying, you don't know what level you're going to have to deal with tribulation and where you're going to have to go. Okay? Okay. He says, but I will leave a few men of them. He said, I will leave a few men of them from the sword, from the famine, and from the pestilence, that they may declare all their abominations among the heathen, whether they come, and they shall know that I am Yahawah. 17, moreover, the word of Yahawah came to me, saying, Son of man, eat thy bread with quaking, and drink thy water with trembling and with carefulness, okay? See, you may have to flee to the wilderness for this. Because in-house, you may not be able to drink your eat your bread with quaking and also drink your water with trembling and carefulness, because if you inside of a enclosed concentration camp, they're gonna feed you abominations. They're gonna give you all kinds of stuff, and you may not get what you think in terms of the bread you want. Okay, 19, and say unto the people of the land, thus saith Yahawah power, thus saith the Lord God of the inhabitants of Jerusalem and of the land of Israel. They shall eat their bread with carefulness and drink their water with astonishment, that her land may be desolate from all that is therein, because of the violence of all them that dwell therein. Because you know Esau gonna be going the hell off on you, and he ain't gonna stop, because Most High programmed him to be the perfect wicked weapon. He's always used him, and he's going to use him this time, and he's going to use him at a very, very high demonistic level. So you better get ready. 21. All right. Shalaki, read 20 again. And the cities that are inhabited shall be laid waste, and the land shall be desolate, and ye shall know that I am Yahawah. 21. And the word of Yahawah came unto me, saying, Son of man, what is that proverb that ye have in the land of Israel, saying, the days are prolonged, and every vision faileth? Tell them, therefore, 23, thus saith the Lord power, I will make this proverb to cease, and they shall no more use it as a proverb in Israel, but say unto them, the days are at hand, and the effect of every vision. Just what you heard them tell you about the fact that this could be the end of prophecy coming at this point in time. I'll read that one again, all right, because I like that. And tell them, therefore, thus saith the Lord power, I will make this proverb to cease, okay, and they shall no more use it as a proverb in Israel, but say unto them, the days are at hand, and the effect of every vision. The days are at hand, and the effect of every vision. That's akin to the prophetic prophecies coming to an end. All right. For there shall be no more any vision, any vain vision, nor flattering divination within the house of Israel. For I am Yahawah, I will speak, and the word that I shall speak shall come to pass. It shall be no more prolonged. For in your days, O rebellious house, will I say the word and will perform it, saith the Lord, Lord power. Again, the word of Yahweh came unto me, saying, Son of man, behold, they of the house of Israel say, the vision that he seeth is for many days to come. See, that's why the scripture about the vision is set for a point in time. Write it in a book, right? So that it can be read. That's roughly paraphrased, but you know the scriptures, the brothers always use it. For many days to come, and he prophesieth of the times that are far off. 28, finishing it out on this one here. Therefore say unto them, thus saith Yahweh power, there shall none of my words be prolonged any more, but the word which I have spoken shall be done, saith Yahweh power, Lord God. All right. So we definitely wanted to get that out. And now we're going to pop into, I got a few precepts I pulled from my notes, and then I'm going to read some things, and then I'm going to pop into a few more precepts that I pulled that I think are very important. Like I said, this is going to take some time. So settle back and get ready. Get your water and get ready, because we're going to roll it. All right. Okay. All right. Here we go. First Chronicles 9:1. Go there with me. Go to First Chronicles chapter 9, and I got verse 1 that I want to bring out first, right? So First Chronicles chapter 9 and verse 1. So all Israel were reckoned by genealogies, and behold, they were written in the book of the kings of Israel and Judah, who were carried away to Babylon for their transgression. All right? And I'm not going to go down the whole list here because I got other things to touch, but I'll just say on 2, just to give you 2. Verse 2, now the first inhabitants that dwelt in their possession in their cities were the Israelites, the priests, Levites, and the Nethinims. Okay, now, you notice what I read. I didn't talk about no other nations. All right, they didn't talk about Moab, the Amorites, the Ammon. They didn't talk about none of them. They didn't talk about Ishmael. It said what? Now the first inhabitants that dwelled in their possession in their cities were the Israelites, the priests, the Levites, and the Nethinim. Now you said, well, who the hell are the Nethinim? Okay, well, let me explain who the Nethinim is. In Second Chronicles, it talks about the Nethinim. These are the individuals where this is around the time when you get these so-called Ish people to slip in and act like they part of us, but they can't declare their house from their fathers, okay? But Nethinim means given to service. Okay, they got in, all right, through Joshua during the time when there was a breach in obedience and knowledge that the Most High presented to them that they were supposed to operate under. And when they got in, they were first brought in as hewers of wood. Well, they were bringing water in, helping in that matter, trying to be helpful in that capacity instead of being destroyed. And then they became hewers of wood for the altar, and then they worked their way in as scribes, and then eventually got themselves into the priesthood because they were working their way into that capacity. So that's what the Nethinims are, but they're not the Israelites that you know. Okay, so just wanted to make that clear. Okay, through that genealogy. And as we go to Second Chronicles, and we're going to go to 36:20, okay, and it reads, and them that had escaped from the sword carried he away to Babylon, where they were servants to him and his sons until the reign of the king of Persia, to fulfill the word of Yahweh by the mouth of Jeremiah, until the land had enjoyed her Sabbaths. For as long as she lay desolate, she kept Sabbath to the fruitful 70 years. Okay, so it was a period of time when there was a little calmness, but you still captivity, just like you have right now with Jake. Jake wants to stay in this world, in this wicked world system. He loves this system. Jake's been predetermined and pre-prepared to want to swim in this soup of wickedness. He loves it. I mean, think about it. Every time they're out on the highways and byways, who does Jake always come up and try to save? Who does he always come up and talk about, why can't the white man make it in? Why can't the white man be saved? Why can't Esau make it? Now, they never mention no one else. They don't mention the Moabites, the so-called Chinese. They don't mention the Amorites, the so-called Japanese. They don't mention the Elamites, the so-called East Indians. They don't mention nobody else. They always mention their slave master. Oh, master, shuffle on down to Buffalo with me and let's get into loving and hugging each other. They're always trying to do that. I mean, I miss my man Amawah'S when he's always doing the hand. Because this is what Jake is about, man. Jake is like this when it comes to Esau. When he gets to Esau, he's like, I just love him. I just love him so much. Okay, Amawah'S. I miss you doing that, okay? Because you be killing me when you do that, so it's all good. Anyway, oh man, Second Chronicles 2, chapter 2 Chronicles 3, 36, 20. That's what I read. Those who had escaped from the sword, he carried away to Babylon, and they were servants to him and to his sons until the rule of the king of Persia. Okay, so, and I wanted to make sure I read that to you because that's important. And it says here, 21, to fulfill the word of the Lord of Yahweh by the mouth of Jeremiah until the land had enjoyed her Sabbath. For as long as she lay desolate, she kept Sabbaths to fulfill 70 years, right? So, and then of course it goes into Cyrus permits, the Israelites to come out of captivity and then still in captivity, really. I mean, because you got to get permission from Cyrus, the Persian king, right? Think about it. Okay, next we're going to Psalms 137. I want to read a little something that I think is pertinent. That's what YAHAWAH'S gave me, so just bear with me and go to it. 137. And it reads, right? By the rivers of Babylon, there we sat down, yea, we wept. When we remembered Zion, we hanged our harps upon the willows in the midst thereof. For there they that carried us away captive required of us a song, and they that wasted us required us mirth, saying, sing us one of those songs of Zion, you coons. You shuffle off the buffalo. Oh, sorry. Forgive me. But that's what they do, man. They got us set up so that we in captivity and all we are is a bunch of entertainment to them. They keep us abominable. They feed us everything abominable, and they make sure that we are so much of an abomination and disobedient to the Father that they get mirth out of it. They enjoy watching us, act just like what they got us programmed to do. So, Lord, help me. Oh, man, I'll tell you. Anyway, I just wanted to make sure I brought that one out. Oh, man. You got to forgive me. I get a little carried away. Daniel chapter 1, 1 through 7. Go with me to the next precept I pulled, right? Daniel. And we're going, Shalaki, chapter 1. In the 3rd year of the reign of Jehoiakim, king of Judah, came Nebuchadnezzar, king of Babylon, unto Jerusalem and besieged it, okay? And the Lord gave Jehoiakim, king of Judah, into his hand with part of the vessels of the house of Yahweh, which he carried into the land of Shinar to the house of his God, and he brought the vessels into the treasure house of his God. So now we talk about where Shinar was, and most of you need to know that that's in the Mesopotamian area, around the Fertile Crescent. That's kind of where the Most High put Adam after he formed him from the earth, preferably in the Holy Land, and then he moved him to that area to manage the world and to do the work, where all the rest of the nations had already been created in Genesis 5, and you know that, so then we know what's going on. That's where he created males and females. He created them, okay? And so then Adam, who was formed from the holy ground, and he was put in that area to manage all these nations and the world. That's why he was given the responsibility of naming everything and doing everything in terms of their righteousness. When he breathed the breath of life into him and he became a living soul, he became knowledgeable, and he was given the word, the truth of the word. Okay, that's what was given to him. It was the law. He was given the law in him. It was breathed into his knowledge, into his inward parts, like we're going to have once we go into the new covenant. It's going to be right in that mind. Breathe the breath of life, the knowledge, the law is going to be in us, not in the rest of the nations. So you ain't bringing Esau into this truth. He's going to be taught how to operate in the truth. He's not going to have it in his inward parts, neither will none of his women. So therefore, they will be nasty, and we're not taking any of Esau's garbage into the new covenant. No garage sale with Esau's garbage, and that includes his people. We don't want them. We ain't going to have them. We ain't going to need them because they won't be clean, and no one wants to get down with one of those animals, okay? Most High's not bringing bestiality into the new covenant. You're not going to do it. Ain't going to be able to do. Remember that song? Okay, so it's not happening. Let's make sure we got it. Don't get it twisted. Back to what I was saying. All right, and we said, and he brought the vessels of the house of Yahweh, and he brought forth them to the land of Shinar, to the house of his God, and he brought the vessels into the treasury of his God. Then the king ordered Ashpenaz, the chief of his officials, to bring in some of the sons of Israel, including some of the royal family and of the nobles, okay? So you can see what's getting ready to happen right here, okay? You say, all right. Now, I don't want to go too deep into reading this part because the house of his God and the king and seed of the princes, right? And the children in whom was no blemish, but well favored and skillful in all wisdom and cunning in knowledge and understanding science, and such as had ability in them to stand in the king's palace, stand in the king's palace, and whom they might teach the learning and the tongue of the Chaldeans. See, now I'm not going to walk past that because that's very important to understand. You see, when you see what he says, and the king spake unto Ashpenaz, the master of the eunuchs, that he should bring certain of the children of Israel and the king's seed and of the princes, children in whom was no blemish, but well favored and skillful in all wisdom. All wisdom. See, that's where it all comes from us. And then they use it and twist it up and try to say they got it. All right. My brother Malcolm of GMS Chicago always tells you about this, that, you know, he does good lessons on historical events and things that happen because he's from the tribe of Reuben like me, and he breaks it down and shows you there's stuff that they took that they make it seem like it's theirs, but it's all ours. Okay. And he says, skillful in all wisdom and cunning in knowledge. This is why you have to be prepared. You have to be cunning enough to know that when you find out that down the block from you or not too far from where you live, Esau's going around collecting people, getting ready to put them in shopping carts to take them to Walmart, you got to be ready to figure out what the hell you're going to do. You got to figure out, well, what does the Most High want me to do? Do I stay here and get collected and go into captivity like that? Or do I go to the wilderness? Or what is my directive? What am I supposed to do? Okay? Figure it out. Get into the scripture and understand what's talking about. Okay? All right. Back. Sorry. Cunning knowledge and understanding science, and such as had ability in them to stand in the king's place, and whom they might teach the learning and the tongues of the Chaldeans. And the king appointed them a daily provision of the king's meat and of the wine which he drank, so nourishing them 3 years, that at the end of their they might stand before the king. Now among these were the children of Judah, Daniel, Hananiah, Mishael, and Azariah. Okay? Those are the ones that are going to be put in the fire. Remember? I'll read their names again. Hananiah, Mishael, and Azariah. Unto whom the prince of the eunuchs gave names, For he gave unto Daniel the name Belteshazzar, and Hananiah he said, you're Shadrach, and Mishael he called Meshach, and Azariah he called Abednego. See, just like right now, they name you everything else but who you are. Toby. Sorry, I go off sometimes, forgive me. Okay, Daniel had to resolve this situation through YAHAWAH'S Shemel Shah. But Daniel proposed in his mind, that he would not defile himself with the portions of the king's meat, because it was pork and it was nasty, nor with the wine which he drank, which was bad. Therefore he requested of the prince of the eunuchs that he might not defile himself. Now Yahweh had brought Daniel into favor and tender love with the prince of the eunuchs, right? And the prince of the eunuchs said unto Daniel, I fear my lord the king, whom hath appointed your meat and your drink. For why should he see your faces worse, liking than the children which are of your sort? Question. Then shall ye make me endangered my head to the king. Chop your head off, right? That eunuch knew that. Then said Daniel to Melzar, whom the prince of the eunuchs had set over Daniel, Hananiah, Mishael, and Azariah, prove thy servants, I beseech thee, 10 days, and let them give us pulse to eat and water to drink. Pulse is the vegetables. They're the seed, which is the meat, which was told about back in Genesis, which is what you're supposed to eat, which will keep you healthy, because you can get protein and everything else from pulse, these vegetables, okay? Then let our countenance be looked upon before thee, and the countenance of the children that eat of the portion of the king's meat, and as thou seest, deal with thy servants. So he consented to them in this manner, and proved them 10 days. And at the end of 10 days, their countenance appeared fairer and fatter in flesh than all the children which did eat the portion of the king's meat. And Melzar took away the portion of their meat and the wine, and they should drink, and gave them pulse. As for these 4 children, Yahweh gave them knowledge and skill in all learning and wisdom, and Daniel had understanding in all visions and dreams. And now at the end of the days that the king had said he should bring them in, then the prince of the eunuchs brought them in before Nebuchadnezzar. And the king communed with them, and among them all was found none like Daniel, Hananiah, Mishael, and Azariah. Therefore stood they before the king, and in all matters of wisdom and understanding that the king inquired of them, he found them 10 times better than all the magicians and the astrologers that were in all his realm. And Daniel continued even unto the first year of King Cyrus. Why do I read that? Because I'm trying to tell you the Most High prepared them to be able to do this. And what did they get prepared with? They were given pulse, and they ate the pulse, and it kept them healthy. What do we eat now? Abominations, because it's all tainted here. The Most High allowed Esau, the perfect wicked weapon, to taint and toxify everything on this earthly plane. Everything. And especially the people, and especially the women. Our women and the women of other nations, everybody's toxified, and none of that's going into the new covenant. Just so you know. Okay. Next, we're going to Jeremiah. So go with me to Jeremiah, and we're going to 29. This is one I definitely have on my list. I know I have it. Yep, I sure do. But we're going to read it. All right, 29 and 4 to 14. Okay. So let's read it, and here it goes. Thus saith Yahweh of hosts, the power of Israel, unto all that are carried away captives, whom I have caused to be carried away from Jerusalem into Babylon. Who did it? I'll read it again, just for those that might be just a little bit slow, just the ones who are literary savants, savantisness. You can't understand this. I'll read it for you again. For thus saith thus saith Yahweh of hosts, the power of Israel, unto all that are carried away captives, comma, whom I have caused to be carried away from Jerusalem into Babylon. Build ye houses and dwell in them, and plant gardens and eat the fruit of them. Take ye wives and beget sons and daughters, and take wives of your sons, and give your daughters to husbands, that they may bear sons and daughters, that ye may be increased there and not diminished. So they had to reproduce in captivity. But they tell you to go hook up with Nebuchadnezzar's people. It's not what he said. Now we know this happened, but that's not what he told you to do. Okay? So you may not be diminished. And seek the peace of the city whether I have caused you to be carried away captives, and pray unto Yahweh for it, for in the peace thereof ye shall have peace. 8, for thus saith Yahweh of hosts, the power of Israel, let not your prophets and your diviners that be in the midst of you deceive you, neither hearken to your dreams which ye cause to be dreamed. Why is he saying that? Because he's telling you, you're going to have some people who are among you who will claim to be prophets, who are going to freaking bug you out and deceive you. Okay? All right. For they prophesy falsely unto you in my name. I have not sent them, saith Yahweh. For thus saith Yahweh, that after 70 years be accomplished at Babylon, I will visit you and perform my good word toward you in causing you to return to this place. For I know the thoughts that I think towards you, saith Yahweh, thoughts of peace, not of evil, to give you an expected end. Then shall ye call upon me, and ye shall go and pray unto me, and I will hearken unto you. And ye shall seek me and find me when ye shall search for me with all your heart. That's all your mind. And I will be found of you, saith Yahweh, and I will turn away your captivity, and I will gather you from all the nations from whom nations and from all the places whither I have driven you, saith Yahweh, and I will bring you again into the place whence I caused you to be carried away captive. See, you're going to go back, all right? Because ye have said, the Lord Yahweh hath raised us up prophets in Babylon. Do we not have prophets right now in this Babylon that we're in? Yes, we do. Do you pay attention to them? Hell no, you really don't. Because you jakes are still being wicked, and you're still doing wicked stuff trying to save your slave master, because he's your prophet. Because it ain't the Most High's ones, because you won't listen. And you've been predetermined to do this. So we're not going to waste a lot of time bugged out over you, because we know the Most High set you up like that. Okay? We know he got you set in this state of mind. And we're not going to waste our time, too much time, trying to convince you to follow what we're saying, because you've been predetermined to do what you're doing. So, you know, I ain't shook. I know y'all bugged the hell out. I know you're supposed to be. And it wouldn't be fulfilling prophecy if you weren't bugged out. So you got to fulfill your bug outness. You got to fulfill it. As simple as that. All right, 16. Know that thus saith Yahweh, the king that sitteth upon the throne of David, and of all the people that dwelleth in the city, and of your brethren that are not gone forth with you into captivity. See, some people ain't going to get caught up in this, okay? Thus saith Yahweh of hosts, behold, I will send upon them the sword, and the famine, and the pestilence, and I will make them like vile figs that cannot be eaten. They are so evil. See, some of these are going to get it, some of these are not going to get it. But he's already telling you, he predetermined who's going to get it. And I will persecute them with the sword, with the famine, and with the pestilence, and will deliver them to be removed to all kingdoms of the earth, to be a curse and an astonishment and a hissing and a reproach among all the nations, whether I have driven them, because they have not hearkened to my words, saith Yahweh, which I sent unto them by my servants, the prophets, rising up early and sending them, but ye would not hear, saith Yahweh. Hear ye therefore the word of Yahweh, all ye of the captivity whom I have sent from Jerusalem to Babylon. Thus saith Yahweh of hosts, the God of Israel, the power of Israel, of Ahab, the sons of Koriah, and Zedekiah, the son of Mishiah, which prophesy a lie unto you in my name. Behold, I will deliver them into the hand of Nebuchadnezzar, king of Babylon, and he shall slay them before your eyes. Okay? Now I can read 22, but I'll let you read that. Okay? Because I got to move on to my next precept. Got to keep it moving. I got a lot of notes I took here, and I'm going to get through it, whether y'all hang here or not. All right. Next, we're going to Ezra. And we're going to Ezra chapter 5. And we're going to start at 13 and read to 16. But in the first year of Cyrus, the king of Babylon, the same king Cyrus made a decree to build this house of Yahweh, and the vessels also of gold and silver in the house of Yahweh, which Nebuchadnezzar took out of the temple that was in Jerusalem and brought them into the temple of Babylon, those did Cyrus the king take out of the temple of Babylon, and they were delivered unto one whose name was Sheshbazzar. I got it. Whom he had made governor, and said unto him, take these vessels, go carry them into the temple that is in Jerusalem, and let the house of Yahweh be built in this place. Then came the same Sheshbazzar and laid the foundation of the house of Yahweh, which is in Jerusalem, and since that time, even until now, hath it been built, and yet it is not finished. Now, therefore, if it seems good to the king, let there be search made in king's treasure house, which is there at Babylon, whether it be so that a decree was made of Cyrus the king to build this house of Yahweh at Jerusalem, and let the king send his pleasure to us concerning this matter. Now we know that in this particular sequence, Belteshazzar, who was the grandson of Nebuchadnezzar, that's when you had the meeny, tinkle, Euphrates, and put on the wall, when the handwriting was on the wall before Darius and the king of the Medes and the Persians and Cyrus, they came in, and that night they took down Belteshazzar and they took him out. And then, of course, once they took over, they were he was already predetermined 200 some odd years before Cyrus was born, that he was going to do this for the Most High Yahweh Shem Yahushai. See, Most High predestinates everything. It's all under his control completely. All right, don't get it twisted. All right, now I want to hit this one, Jeremiah chapter 20. Go there real quick. Just this one precept, Jeremiah 26. And you, Phasar, and all who live in your house will go into captivity, and you will either enter Babylon, and there you will die, and there you will be buried, and you and all your friends to whom you have falsely prophesied. So I wanted to hit you with that because we got a lot of these kinds of people like Phasar that are out here and they're preaching false doctrines, and they're claiming to be prophets, and they're not following the accuracy that was given from the beginning from One West, and they're not doing that. They're deviating and going all over the place, and they know that the apostles were bringing it out to them, but they don't care. They're disrespectful, and they're falling, and they're problematic, and they're falling even further down. Jeremiah chapter 24:1. After Nebuchadnezzar, king of Babylon, had carried away captives Jeconiah, the son of Jehoiakim, king of Judah, and the officials of Judah, with the craftsmen and smiths from Jerusalem, and had brought them to Babylon, the Lord showed me, behold, 2 baskets of figs set before the temple of the Lord. Now, why are those 2 baskets of figs set for the temple of the Lord? Was we talking about how the nation was split and how it's going to eventually be brought back together. So I just wanted to emphasize that, right? Jeremiah chapter 32:5. And he will take Zedekiah to Babylon, and he will be there until I visit him. This is what Yahweh is saying about what's going to happen to him being a rebellious king, declares Yahweh the Lord. And if you fight against the Chaldeans, you will not succeed. He even told him, you're not going to win that war. And he, of course, he didn't believe it. He was still rebellious, just like you have a bunch of rebellious leaders at this time. And they're going to fall by the sword because they're not following the instructions of the destruction that's coming and the directives that's given in order to be able to be saved out of this tribulation. And that's where it goes. 2 Kings, all right, 24:16. All the men of valor, 7,000, and the craftsmen and the smiths, 1,000, all strong and fit for war. And these the king of Babylon brought into exile to Babylon. So even if you think that you got the strength, if you think you got the juice to go up against the king of Babylon, just like you can't do that here, I told you, you're not going to fight against Esau and win with the blessing he has, which is the sword, because he has to finish out this prophecy for him to try to go against YAHAWAH'S at the end in the Leo orbit, in the lower Earth orbit, right? So you, as I told you before, he ain't gonna win. The books already showed us who's at the end and who wins, and that's the way we roll, and that's the way it's gonna be. But he's got to make a show of it, like he did with Pharaoh. You know, remember he took Pharaoh to the task, and then he hardened his heart and did everything he had to do. But in the end, what ended up happening? Pharaoh knew that the power of YAHWH was more powerful than anything he could possibly imagine, and there was nothing he could do about fighting against that. And then, of course, he perished. He went down, and he was supposed to go down, and but he was shown. So it's the same thing that you see right now. If you really think about it, Esau is deliberately being programmed to be delusional and think that he can fight against the Creator, which is impossible. You can't fight against the Creator. There's no possible way. So all these bugged out people who think the angels be falling and fighting against YAHWH and going off and trying to go after humans and all this stuff and women, you're out of your mind. You are right where he wants you at. You need to be bugged out in that sense. That's what you need to believe all the way to the end, so you can see how this turns out. Because nothing that the Most High has created is not under his control. If he didn't control everything, he wouldn't be all powerful. See how spiritually retarded some people are? Just stop for a minute and just think of that, okay? The Most High is omnipresent, omnipotent, all-powerful in every capacity. Everything he created, he can easily diminish it without even a thought. He can give it everything. You have no idea the sovereignty and the power that he has. But if you believe he's all-powerful and know he's all-powerful, then what in his creation could go against his power? See, that's why you know that they're spiritually retarded and blocked, period. Why would you want to be so stupid? Jeremiah chapter 29:1. Now these are the words of the letter which Jeremiah the prophet sent from Jerusalem to the rest of the elders of the exile, the priests, the prophets, and all the people whom Nebuchadnezzar had taken into exile from Jerusalem to Babylon. Okay? So what did he tell them? I think it's kind of important, don't you? Okay, let's just check it out. All right. All right. After, okay. Oh, Shalaki. 2, after that, Jeconiah, the king, and the queen, and the eunuchs, and the princes of Judah, and Jerusalem, and the carpenters, and the smiths were departed from Jerusalem by the hand of Elisha, the son of Shaphan, the Gemariah, and Gemariah, the son of Hilkiah, whom Zedekiah, king of Judah, sent into Babylon to Nebuchadnezzar, king of Babylon, saying, Thus saith Yahweh of hosts, the power of Israel, unto all that are carried away captives, whom I have cursed to be carried away from Jerusalem unto Babylon. Build ye houses and dwell in them, and plant gardens and eat the fruit of them. Take ye wives and begat sons and daughters, and take wives for your sons, and give your daughters to husbands, that they bear sons and daughters that ye may be increased therein and not diminished. Now, the reason why I read that again was very simple. He's showing you what you have to go through and what you're going to go through again. So you have to take that into consideration and not get it twisted, okay? And this is what we're doing, and we got to stop doing that. But if you're programmed to happen, it's what's going to happen to you. Psalms chapter 137, and I need to get that one. And it reads, by the rivers of Babylon, there we sat down, yea, we wept when we remembered Zion. We hanged our harps upon the willows in the midst thereof, for there they that carried us away captive required of us a song, and they that wasted us required us of us mirth, saying, sing us one of the songs of Zion. And so we keep seeing this being the same situation that happens over and over again, okay? And it's repeated to you because we keep repeating the same things. We're doing the same things we did before in captivity, and we're doing the same things all over again. And we have to be free from these chains, right? And that's what the Most High is going to do, but you have to go through the tribulation in order to get free from these chains, all right? Jeremiah 40 and like 4 was one of the precepts I was given. Okay. And now, behold, I loose thee this day from the chains which were upon thy hand. If it seem good unto thee to come with me into Babylon, come. I will look well unto thee, but if it seem ill unto thee to come with me into Babylon, forbear. Behold, all the land is before thee, whether it seemeth good and convenient for thee to go thither, go. So I wanted to show that as a precept that brings to mind that the exile that we have has been continuous since the Old Testament through the New Testament. Okay, it's been continuous, and we have been shown that that is the case for us every step of the imagination and every step of the way. I pulled down some information that I think is very important from my notes, because I always try to do. Most always tries to give me a very thorough study when I get into this. I really try to do my best to go through this in a way where I'm covering every aspect I can as thorough as I can in reference to this situation. Okay, so I want you to take this into consideration. I'm going to talk a little bit now about YAHAWAH'S and the restoration that he provides as far as when he went through the curses that he had to go through for us. And when he went through these curses he went through for us, we got to recognize that that is a form of looking to lift the exile off of us through the promises, okay? And that's things that I took down in my notes, and I'm going to read some of it for you. And I want you to take heed and take some notes about some of the stuff that I'm bringing forward to you, okay? All right, now it says, I'm reading here, it says, okay, historically, all right? I'm speaking from that, right? Okay, Israel's still in captivity at the end of historical period covered in the Old Testament, even though some people had returned to the promised land in the book of Ezra and Nehemiah. They were exiles in the sense that they had yet to be reconciled to Yahweh. They were still living under political bondage to foreign powers and under spiritual bondage, as I always told you, spiritual blockage in their sin. The curses of the covenant still weighed on them. None of the promises about a restored kingdom had yet come to pass. So YAHAWAH'S moves history forward in a gigantic step through bringing exile to an end by inaugurating the everlasting kingdom of Yahweh. Okay, so we see the greatness of what YAHAWAH'S did when we understand the New Testament as an end of exile story, okay? Because that's what we have to look at it as, an end of exile story. The story about how Yahweh came and brought Yahawashi in the flesh to end his people's misery and make good on all his kingdom promises. Okay, the situation at the beginning of the New Testament, many important events take place in the time between the testaments, roughly 400 BC to AD 30. Okay, political authority over the promised land changes hands several times, from the Persians to the Greeks under several species, and then from the Greeks to the Romans. Many social developments emerged among the Israelites scattered at home and abroad. And yet, when we consider Yahweh's intentions to bring his people out of exile into a restored kingdom, we contend that no progress is made in the time between the testaments towards this redemptive goal. Certainly, the many historical developments we just referenced contribute to preparing the stage of Yahawashi's arrival. But Israel remains in the same condition of exile at the beginning of the New Testament as they occupied at the end of the Old Testament. You see what I'm saying? And of course, there's exceptions to the period to understand themselves to be in exile. There are exceptions to this pattern, but it is nevertheless widespread and mainstream among Israelites of this period. To take one example, in 2nd Maccabees, a document that probably dates to the 1st century BC, Jonathan and the high priest of Nehemiah's day is recorded as praying, "Gather together our scattered people, set free those who are slaves among the Gentiles, look on those who are rejected and despised, and let the Gentiles know that you are our power. Punish those who oppress and are insolent with pride. Plant your people in your holy place as Moses promised." 2nd Maccabees chapter 1, 27 through 29. Jonathan ostensibly prays this prayer in the 5th century BC in the land of promise, and as a narrative continues, it is clear that the same problems persist to the days of Maccabees, 2nd century BC. A second reason that we understand Israel is still to be in exile, okay, by beginning of the New Testament, is the witness of the New Testament itself, right? Here are a number of indications that the exile has continued until Yahawashi's arrival. Matthew genealogy summarizes Israel's story up to Yahawashi's birth in Matthew chapter 1, 1 through 17. The last phase of genealogy is about exile. After the deportation to Babylon, Matthew chapter 1, verse 12, with no indication that exile ended before the birth of Yahawashi. At the beginning of Mark's gospel, we see that people came to John the Baptist for a baptism, right, of repentance in water, right, for the forgiveness of sin. Mark chapter 1, verse 4. The implication is that Israel was still seeking to complete the repentance that was needed to bring exile to an end. Deuteronomy chapter 30, verse 1 through 3. And that they had not yet been forgiven. Now that's in Nehemiah 13, 18. They even came to the Jordan River to be baptized, which recalls Israel's first entry into the land, Joshua chapter 3, 17. Take notes, right? This geographic note hints that the people were seeking a new entry into the land, a true end to exile. At the beginning of Luke's gospel, we meet Simon, who is awaiting Israel's consolation. Luke 2:25. Consolation is precisely what Yahweh promised to give when he brings exile to an end. And that's in Isaiah chapter 40, verse 1. We're going to make sure we hit that one too, because I think that's one of the ones I read last. Looking for consolation implies that Simon believed the conditions of exile to continue. The many demons that Yahushua encountered throughout his ministry were indications of Israel's ongoing spiritual bondage. Yahushua said that he must first bind the strong man, right, before he plundered his house, thus liberating the souls of his people, right, who were currently in bondage. Matthew chapter 12:29. By implication, the strong man had not been, right? So, what is the rest of my notes here? Okay, yeah. Back to Yahweh's casting Adam and Eve out of the garden when they rebelled. Genesis chapter 3:23-24. We talked about that. In the New Testament, proclaims Yahushua's work as an end-time exile story in several interrelated ways. Yahweh's steadfast love and compassion, as we saw in the previous information, identifies two primary motives for why Yahweh will one day act to end exile. The New Testament says that these same two motives animated Yahweh to send Yahushua, and Yahweh came in the flesh and to end his people's misery and make good on all the kingdom promises, right? First, Yahweh promises to end exile because because his steadfast covenant of love, Hebrews, he said, Hesed, that's Greek. This word refers to his covenant fidelity. The Lord shall remember the covenants he made with Abraham and David, and he granted these promises with solemn oaths. Genesis chapter 22, verse 16, write them down. Psalms 132, verse 11, Hebrews chapter 6, okay, verse 13-18, all right? And if Yahweh never restored Israel from exile, he could be accused of faithfulness to his promise, which is impossible. A lack of Hesed, right? Hesed. But because he is, see, that's the name, Yahweh, he is, right? His people, he is great in, he said, Exodus 34:6. He will one day act on these ancient promises and bring his people out of exile. Lamentations 3:32, right? The end of Yahweh's wrath depends on his fidelity to what he promised the fathers. Micah chapter 7:18-20. Thus, when Yahushua is about to arrive, the New Testament refers to the Lord's steadfast covenant of love. He said again, right? Hesed. Zechariah John, the Baptist father, celebrated his birth with an extraordinary word of praise. See, praise. He says in Luke chapter 1:78 that the forerunner, i.e. John the Baptist, has been born, and the promised branch or sunrise, i.e. Mashiach, right, is about to appear because of the Lord's tender mercy. Greek elos, E-L-E-O-S, elos, but tender mercy is probably not the best translation here, for this Greek word often translate, he said, in the Old Testament. Zechariah is referring to the Lord's covenant fidelity as he had translated, he said in the Old Testament, Zechariah refers to the Lord's covenant fidelity. And he just said the purpose of this deliverance is to show the covenant fidelity, i.e. promise to our fathers, and to remember his holy covenant, the oath that he swore to our father Abraham. Luke chapter 7, 172-73. The second reason for God's ending exile, Yahweh's ending exile, is closely tied to the first. We would be deeply wrong to think Yahweh as acting to end exile is a grudging manner simply because he was obligated to do so by his ancient promises. He also ends exile because of his deep compassion. He cares about the anguish and his people. He longs to reverse it. And the Old Testament had said that this compassion would be the great turning point that begins the end of exile. That's in Deuteronomy chapter 4, 31, 30 and 3, 32 and 36, Hosea 2 and 23, 11, chapter 11, 8, and Micah chapter 7, 18. I think I gave you that, 18 through 19, Isaiah 54, 7 through 8. And of course, 60, 10 through 60, chapter 60, verse 10, Psalm 79, 8, Psalms 102, 13. Thus, when Yahawashi appears, we see many indications that Yahweh's compassion precipitated the coming. For Yahweh so loved the world that he gave his only begotten son. They always use that, the wacky-tackies, John 3:16. Also Romans 5:8, Ephesians 2:4. Yahawashi himself incarnates, and he brings the power from the Father in his incarnating here, and many deeds of mercy that he performed. Matthew chapter 9, 36, and 14:4. Matthew 15, 32, Matthew 20, 34, and Mark chapter 1, 41 through Luke 7 and 13. I know I'm going fast, but stay with me. Yahweh's vast compassions for us in our exile led him to act for our deliverance. Yahawashi completes Israel's punishment. Second, Yahawashi ends Israel's exile by his own suffering. Yahawashi enters into Israel's exile so that he can end it. And then, of course, the Gospel of Matthew particularly emphasizes Yahawashi's identity as in new Israel. And, of course, Yahawashi is called Yahweh's son, which we know, and Israel, as Israel was in Matthew chapter 3:17. Okay, and he emerges out of Egypt, Matthew chapter 2:15, and is baptized in the Jordan River by John the Baptist, 3:16. Just as Israel was baptized in the Red Sea, 1 Corinthians 10:2. But this baptized Israel will fulfill all righteousness. And that's why Yahawashi said you have to be baptized by fire. John the Baptist said by fire and water in the spirit. It'll be by fire instead of water in the spirit, baptized in the spirit. And even though Yahawashi is tempted in the wilderness for 40 days, just as Israel was 40 years, Matthew chapter 4, 1 through 2, Yahawashi does not give in to temptation. He does he does not grumble about food, put Yahweh to the test to serve Satan and the very things Israel did in the wilderness, right? So I'm going to kind of stop there with my notes. I have a lot more to read, but I got some precepts to go through and I want to end it. So like I said, Yahawashi went into the wilderness. And because he went into the wilderness, we can say that it's a good possibility that some of us may also have to go into the wilderness. But before anybody goes anywhere, you always can be prepared. And that's what's important. You still have to be prepared. And that's what the Most High is telling you through this lesson. Yahweh directs Yahweh's directives on delivering us through his exile. So we're going to be delivered through this exile, and that's what's important. So we need to make sure we understand that. I'm going to go to Jeremiah. I'm already in Jeremiah, so I'm going to go Jeremiah. I think we'll go to 30 and get ready to finish this off. Okay, because I know I've been on long enough, and because I got a lot to read, and this is important because I'm trying to finish it out for you to let you know you got directives coming from Yahweh Shem Yoshai, and you're going to have to follow through on it if you plan to go through this tribulation with as minimal amount of what we consider to be fire as possible. Jeremiah chapter 30 and 1, and it reads, the word that came to Jeremiah from Yahweh saying, thus speaketh the Yahweh power of Israel, saying, write thee all the words that I have spoken unto thee in a book. For lo, the days come, saith Yahweh, that I will bring again the captivity of my people Israel and Judah, saith Yahweh, and I will cause them to return to the land that I gave to their fathers, and they shall possess it. 4. And these are the words that Yahweh spake unto it concerning Israel and concerning Judah. For thus saith Yahweh, we have heard a voice of trembling, of fear, and not of peace. Ask ye now and see whether a man doeth travail with child. Wherefore do I see every man with his hands on his loins as a woman in travail, and all faces are turned into paleness. Alas, for that day is great, so that none is like it. It is even the time of Jacob's trouble, but he shall be saved out of it. You see why I'm ending in this book? Because I'm trying to tell you, the Most High says you will be saved out of it, but you gotta, but don't get twisted. Don't go past the point where he says, but you will be saved out of it. Meaning you gotta go through it. Okay, let me read it again so in case you understand, okay? All right. Alas, for that day is great, so that none is like it. It is even the time of Jacob's trouble, but he shall be saved out of it, which means you got to go in it to be saved. You got to be in something to get out of it. Okay? For it shall come to pass in that day, saith Yahweh of hosts, that I will break his yoke from off thy neck and will burst thy bonds, and strangers shall no more serve themselves of him, but they shall serve Yahweh their power, and David their king, whom I will raise up unto them. Therefore fear thou not, O my servant Jacob, saith Yahweh, neither be dismayed, O Israel. Lo, I will save thee from afar, that thy seed from the land of their captivity, and Jacob shall return and shall be in rest and be quiet, and none shall make him afraid. For I am with thee, saith Yahweh, to save thee through, see, I'm with thee to save thee. So that means you got to go through it with him. You got to still go through this. Because he says, I am with thee, saith Yahweh, to save thee, though I make a full end of all nations, whether I have scattered thee, yet I will not make a full end of thee, but I will correct thee in measure, and I will not leave thee altogether unpunished. So who's getting the hell away with anything? You heard what he said? Hey, look, I'm reading the scripture. You got a problem with it? You make it say something else then. All right? For thus saith Yahweh, thy bruise is incurable, and thy wound is grievous. There is none to plead thy cause, that thou mayest be bound up. Thou hast no healing medicines. All thy lovers have forgotten thee. They seek thee not. For I have wounded thee with the wound of an enemy, with a chastisement of a cruel one, for the multitude of thine iniquity, because thy sins were increased. This is the Father who is El Shaddai, demon-like power. Why criest thou for thine affliction? Thou sorrow is incurable for the multitude of thy iniquity, because thy sins were increased. I have done these things unto thee. Who's doing it? Hello? Who's kicking your, Okay? All right. Therefore, all they that devour thee shall be devoured, and all thine adversaries, every one of them, shall go into captivity, and they that spoil thee shall be a spoil, and all that prey upon thee will I give for a prey. So you will get repayment, but you still got to go through things before you get that. Okay? Just make sure you understand that. You still got to go through it. And now let's talk about the restoration. For I will restore health unto thee. I will heal thee of thy wounds, saith Yahweh, because they call thee an outcast, saying, this is Zion, whom no man seeketh after. And we know the way these jakes are, people are just like that. Now, yes, directives on what to do and how to do, right? Thus saith the Lord, behold, I will bring again the captivity of Jacob's tent, and have mercy on his dwellings, and the city shall be builded upon her own heap, and the place shall remain after the manner thereof. And out of them shall proceed thanksgiving and the voice of them that maketh merry, and I will multiply them, and they shall not be few. I will also glorify them, and they shall not be small. Their children also shall be as for time, and their congregation shall be established before me, and I will punish all that oppress them. And their nobles shall be of themselves, and their governor shall proceed from the midst of them, and I will cause him to draw near, and he shall approach unto me. For who is that engage his heart to approach unto me, saith Yahweh? And ye shall be my people, and I will be your power. Behold, the whirlwind of Yahweh, that's the chariot, goeth forth with fury, a continuing whirlwind, and it shall fall with pain upon the head of the wicked. See, you're gonna get some laser beams. You're gonna catch it. The of Yahweh shall be returned until he have done it, and until he have performed the intent of his heart. In the latter days ye shall consider it. So he's telling you this is when it's going to go down at this time, right? Now that was Jeremiah chapter 30. Now I want to go to 31 because I'm going to be wrapping this up. 31. I could actually read all this, but I want you to go and read chapter 31. But I'm going to go ahead on down to the bottom and hit 31 because that's the precept I was given to give. Behold, the days come, saith Yahweh, that I will make a new covenant with the house of Israel and with the house of Judah, not according to the covenant that I made with their fathers in the day that I took them took them by hand out of the land of Egypt, which my covenant they break, although I was an husband unto them, saith the Lord, saith Yahweh. That's why you're not taking Esau's garbage into the new covenant, because this covenant that's coming up is not going to be like the covenant that he has in this fallen state on this earthly plane right now, on this planet. No, that's not going to be. It's not going to be the same covenant. So all the wickedness that you think that you want to control and take it to the new covenant, because you hate that Esau has that stuff here, and you're saying to yourself, well, if I was doing it here, it wouldn't be like that. If it's in this fallen state, it's going to be wicked. So none of this wicked shit's going into the new covenant. Sorry. So hate to disappoint you, but it ain't coming. Okay. Where was I at? Shalak. All right. And that was 31, and I went down there where the covenant came in. All right, yeah. But according to, okay. And according to the covenant, okay, 33. But this shall be the covenant that I will make with the house of Israel after those days, saith Yahweh. I will put my law in their inward parts. It's going to be in your mind, and write it in their hearts, in their mind, and will be their power, and they shall be my people. And they shall teach no more every man his neighbor and every man his brother, saying, Know Yahweh, for they shall all know me, from the least of them unto the greatest of them, saith Yahweh, for I will forgive their iniquity, and I will remember their sins no more. So these are directives that he's giving you right now. See, he says here, now, if we're going to learn this in the new covenant and bring this forward, which you will, you got to start doing it now. That's why I always say in Judges chapter 5, it tells you to practice the righteous act. And in Exodus 4, it tells you that the elders on the throne threw down got off their thrones, put their crowns at the feet of the Most High, and they've been praising and worshiping. Praising and worshiping is a formula that has to be implied. Okay, let me explain it again for all those who are spiritually retarded and don't seem to get this right. Okay, now here it goes. Pay attention. Stop doing whatever you're doing that's bugged out. Or if you're not paying attention, close attention, pay close attention, students. Here we go. Now, praise, worship, and prayer. What is praise? Praise is the highest level that you can give the Father, Yahweh, in love. Why? Because if you give him the highest level of love, when you go through Yahweh Shai with your request through prayer, and you show the exercise of getting the blood in your body moving to worship, when you walk, when you run, when you exercise, when you do stuff, that is a form of a worship because you're working. The same word worship is work in Hebrew. So what you're doing is you're working up a blood sacrifice that's not spilling out, but it's performing a worship. That's the worship portion of what you're giving to the Most High. That's why the brothers are out on the highways and byways. They're out there working their bodies as a living sacrifice, and the metabolism in their bodies, the blood is rushing forward. That's a form of sacrifice. The Most High said he can't accept the sacrifice unless some blood is involved in it. Okay, so that's part of the worship thing, okay? Now, what is the prayer side of the situation? That is your communication, like what we're doing right now. I'm talking, you're talking, you're understanding, you're sending scriptures, you're doing this, you're doing that. If that's what you're doing, that's a form of communication. Asking Yahawashi, asking the Father in the name of Yahawashi, you want your asking to be wrapped in repentance. So this is what happens. You got to take the praise, you got to take the worship, you got to take the prayer, and you wrap it in as righteous a package as you can of repentance, and you send it to Yahawashi to go to the Father. It gets through to the Father that way, because then he knows he's your first love, like Yahawashi said in Revelation when he talked about 2939. We showed that those two churches, right, they were the ones, Philadelphia, and I think it was brain freeze. But anyway, the two churches in that time, Smyrna and Philadelphia, right? They understood the first love. The rest of the churches didn't understand the first love was to give Yahweh the Father first. Don't forget him. Because you notice, people talk about Yahawashi all the time. Now, of course, they ignorantly call him Jesus and other bugged out byword names. You know, I don't need to go into them. You know them. But see, they don't mention the Father. They don't really bring Yahweh into the conversation. They always talk about, you know, how they want to love on Yahawashi, which you are supposed to, of course, because you got to go through him, because he's been appointed heir of all things. But you still can't be leaving the Father out. That's why we say all praises to Yahweh by Hashem Yahawashi in the name of the Son. So you got to take that package and you wrap it up in that repentance. You send it through Yahawashi to him, so that he can send it to the Father. And if the Father accepts your sacrifice, your real, true love, that you love more than anything else, any person, place, or thing, or location, or organization, he's first. Once the Father sees that that's your first love, then what happens now? Then it's a high level percentage chance that you're going to get what you're asking for, because you're showing him that he's first in everything, okay? So that's why it's important for you to understand how to do that. So now I've explained it, so now you got it, all right? You can pray without ceasing, but you better have some love in that thing at the highest level from praise, and some worship in that thing at the highest level of your blood sacrifice within your body that's all wrapped up to giving to him. Okay, and that's what you should be talking about and giving to the Most High, as far as to Yahawashi, in order to get your prayers answered, because that's what they're doing in heaven. Isn't this what you're trying to aspire to acquire? You want a throne, you want a crown, you want land, other planets that you own land on, other mansions and stuff that you want to be able to go to. You want a fleet of chariots and all this and that. Well, why do you think you deserve that if you ain't willing to learn now? You have to learn it now and move forward with it into the new covenant. That's why the new covenant is not going to have stuff from the old covenant, because it doesn't match up with what goes forward. You see what I'm saying? All right. And that's why it says, and they shall teach no more every man his neighbor and every man his brother, saying, know Yahweh, for they shall all know me, from the least of them unto the greatest of them, saith Yahweh, for I will forgive their iniquity, and I will remember their sins no more. Thus saith Yahweh, which giveth the sun for the light of day, and the ordinances of the moon and of the stars for a light by night, which divideth the sea when waves thereon roar. Yahweh of hosts is his name. See, the name is utmost important, okay? If those ordinances depart from before me, saith Yahweh, then the seed of Israel also shall cease from being a nation before me ever. Thus saith Yahweh, If heaven above can be measured and the foundations of the earth searched out beneath, I will also cast off the seed of Israel for all that they have done, saith Yahweh. Behold, the days come, saith Yahweh, that the city shall be built for Yahweh, from the tower of Haniel unto the gate of corner. And the measuring line shall yet go forth over against it upon the hill of Geber, and shall compass about to Goeth. And the whole valley of the dead bodies, of the dead bodies and of the ashes, and all the fields unto the brook of Kedron, unto the corner of the horse gate toward east, shall be holy unto Yahweh. It shall not be plucked up, nor thrown down anymore forever. See? So, in knowing all this, you got to pay attention and be under the directives that the Most High tells you to operate under. This is what's important. I'm going to chapter 32 in the same book of Jeremiah, and we're getting ready to finish it out. We got about 2 more precepts to go through, and then we're going to be out, okay? So just bear with me, all right? A couple more, all right? If you can't bear, goodbye. 32, starting at 37. And it reads, behold, I will gather them out of all countries, whether I have driven them in mine anger and my fury and in great wrath, and I will bring them again unto this place, and I will cause them to dwell safely, and they shall be my people, and I will be their power, and I will give them one heart, one way, that they may fear me forever. Fear is love him, revere him forever, for the good of them and of their children after them. Okay, and I'm going to 40. And I will make an everlasting covenant with them, that I will not turn away from them to do them good, but I will put my fear in their hearts. That's his love. Don't be scared, and that they shall not depart from me. 41, yea, I will rejoice over them to do them good, and I will plant them in this land assuredly with my whole heart and with my whole soul. 42, for thus saith Yahweh, like as I have brought all this great evil upon this people, so will I bring upon them all the good that I have promised them. 43, and the field shall be brought in the land whereof ye say, it is desolate, where without man or beast, it is given unto the hand of the Chaldeans. 44, and this one, men shall buy fields for money and subscribe evidences and seal them and take witnesses in the land of Benjamin and in the places about Jerusalem and in the cities of Judah and in the cities of the mountains and in the cities of the valley and in the cities of the south. I will cause their captivity to return, saith Yahweh. He's talking about the whole world. When you name it, everything like that, we're talking about the whole world. That's just how it maps out, and that's just how it gets down. Okay, we got a couple more precepts, and then we'll be closing this out. So now I'm going to the book of Isaiah. So go with me there. All right, and we're going to kind of get finished here. Isaiah chapter 60, and I'm gonna get just proper precept or 2 here. Starting at 1, arise, shine, for thy light is come, and the glory of Yahweh is risen upon thee. For behold, the darkness shall cover the earth, and the gross darkness the people. But the Lord Yahweh shall arise upon thee, and his glory shall be seen upon thee. And the Gentiles shall come to thy light, and kings to their brightness of thy rising. Lift up thine eyes round about, and see all they gather themselves together. They come to thee, thy sons shall come from far, and thy daughters shall be nursed at thy side. Right? Then thou shalt see and flow together, and thine heart shall fear and be enlarged, because the abundance of the sea shall be converted to thee, and forces of the Gentiles shall come unto thee. All right, so we know that that's exactly what the Most High is talking about doing. We're going to pop straight over here to 61. We're getting ready to wrap it up. I know it's been a while. Y'all can make it. If y'all can hang this long, you're doing good. And they shall build the old waste. They shall rise up the former desolations, and they shall repair the waste cities, the desolations of many generations. And strangers shall stand and feed your flocks, and the sons of the aliens shall be your plowmen and your vine dressers. But see, that's what I'm saying. Those people are not the people of ours who you would consider to be someone you want to intermingle with anymore. These people on the outside of the temple, they work for us. We ain't procreating with none of them damn demons. And I mean, well, they might still be, I don't know if they're going to be demons like that, but they're going to be slaves. We ain't procreating with no damn slaves. All right, that ain't happening. Get the hell out of here. That ain't working. All right, let me finish. Where I was at. Okay. All right, here we go. Yeah, and the strangers shall stand and feed their flocks, and the sons and the aliens shall be their plowmen and your vine dressers. But ye shall be named the priests of Yahweh. Men shall call you ministers of Yahweh of power. Ye shall eat the riches of the Gentiles, and in their glory shall ye boast yourselves. For your shame, ye shall have double, and for your confusion they shall rejoice in their portion. Therefore in their land they shall possess double. They're going to get double. Everlasting joy shall be unto them. For I, Yahweh, love judgment, and I hate robbery for burnt offerings, and I will direct their work in truth, and I will make an everlasting covenant with them, and their seed shall be known among the Gentiles, and their offspring among the people. All that see them shall acknowledge them, and they are the seed which the Lord hath blessed. See, so we're going to be the main ones, the blessed ones. I will greatly rejoice in Yahweh. My soul shall be joyful in my power, for he hath clothed me with the garments of salvation. He hath covered me with the robe of righteousness, as a bridegroom decketh himself with ornaments, and as a bride adorneth herself with her jewels. For as the earth bringeth forth her bud, and as the garden causeth the things that are sown in it to spring forth, so Yahweh power will cause righteousness and praise to spring forth before all the nations. All of them. They're going to be outside the temple, outside the courtyard, but they're going to work their asses off to the nth degree. Okay, I want to go to 51 and grab something, and then we get ready to close it out. 51:3, and it reads, for the Lord shall comfort Zion. He will comfort all her waste places, and he will make her wilderness like Eden, and her desert like garden of Yahweh. Joy and gladness shall be found therein, thanksgiving and the voice of melody. Okay, and let me go finishing up. What was I at? What was 37? 26, I think it was. Yeah. All right, 26, Isaiah 37:26. Hast thou not heard long ago how I have done it, and of ancient times that I have formed it? Now have I brought it to pass, that thou shouldest be to lay waste defense cities into ruins and heaps. Therefore their inhabitants were a small power. They were dismayed and confounded. They were as the grass of the field, as the green herb, as the grass on the housetops, and as the corn blasted before it be grown up. But I know thy abode, and thy going out, and thy coming in, and thy rage against me, because thy rage against me and thy tumult is come up into mine ears. Therefore will I put my hook in thy nose, and my bridle on thy lips, and I will turn thee back by the way by which thou camest. And this shall be a sign unto thee, and ye shall eat this year as growth of itself, and the second year that which springeth of the same. In the third year sow ye and reap, and plant vineyards and eat the fruit thereof. And the remnant that is escaped of the house of Judah shall again take root downward and bear fruit upward. For out of Jerusalem shall go forth a remnant, and they that escape out of Mount Zion, the zeal of the Lord of hosts shall do this. Therefore, thus saith the Lord Yahweh concerning the king of Assyria, he shall not come into this city, nor shoot any arrow there, nor come before it with shields, nor cast a bank against it. By the way that he came, by the same shall he return, shall not come into this city, saith Yahweh. For I will defend this city to save it for mine own sake and for my servant David's sake. So, as I said, Yahweh has told you that he's going to have you go through it. But in the process of you going through it, you will be brought out of it. You have directives. They're in the word. You go to the precepts and the ordinances that speak of when you hear what he did with Joseph, when you hear what he did with Noah, when you hear what he did with Isaiah, Ezekiel, Hosea, Micah, Joel. It's all there, every single bit of it. There's nothing that has not been brought forward at this time in terms of all of the directives that the Most High has told you that he wants you to operate under. This is what he told me to bring. This is the way it has to be brought forward. I told you that the Most High he's gracious in the way that he's bringing things forward, and he's showing you that you have to worship him. You have to worship. You have to praise. What I said was PPWP, right? Praise, prepare, worship, and pray. This is what you're going to have to do in order to get through what's going to befall us. It's just no other way that I know of that we could possibly make it through these tribulation. We've got to praise, prepare, worship, and pray. I mean, this is all I'm understanding. I mean, how else you gonna make it? How else you gonna get through this? Like in Amos chapter 9, what was it, 14? And I will bring again the captivity of my people of Israel, and they shall build the waste cities and inhabit them, and they shall plant vineyards and drink, right, the wine thereof, and they shall also make gardens and eat the fruit thereof. And I will plant them upon their land, and they shall no more be pulled up out of their land, which I have given them, saith Yahweh, my power, thy power. So, I hope that you understood and still understand that you have to follow the directives that the Most High has put forth to deliver us through this exile. He's got so many, a myriad of directives that are all through this word and all through what he has given you to do. You're not supposed to just sit back and do nothing. Most High, Yahweh Shem Shah does not like a slacker, a sluggard, a person who just sits around and does nothing. I heard Brother YAHAWAH'S say every man should be providing some method of direction through Yahweh Shem Shah and through the scriptures and through this Bible. Every man should be doing some work in this. I mean, if whatever you do, if you go out, if you don't go out, but you need to be in the truth. But so you got to get taught and raised up by those who know the truth and know the accuracy. And once you get in that phase of the situation, then you can do this work. But you're doing it unrighteously if you don't know the accuracy of the word. And the same thing goes for your activity and taking care of your family. You're going to come upon this time when things are going to go off the rails, and you got to figure out in this book and in these scriptures and in this truth what your directive is to do. Because if you don't know what to do, then you know the sheep don't know what to do, because you can't tell them what to do. And that's the absolute actual thing. There's no fudging that at all. That's exactly the way it is. Shlaka. So we're going to finish off here, and that's what it is. Call hello, YAHAWAH'S Yahushua. Call hello, YAHAWAH'S Yahushua. Bashir Rakakadash, Wada Yahweh, Wada Yahweh, Bashir Yahushua, Barakatha Yahweh, for your mercy as I cried, Shalaki Yahweh, for my sins as I cry, call on Yahweh, Hashem, Yahweh, Vada Yahweh, for your mercy by and by, call on Yahweh, Hashem, Yahweh. Oh Lord, Yahweh, Vashem, Yahweh. Okay.